Hi everybody, Jillian here. Welcome back to my channel for a new process video. Today is all about Valentine's Day, and I know that Valentine's has come and gone, but it's my wedding anniversary, my husband's choice, and I wanted to get it documented. I'm going to be using Crepe Paper's Hello Love collection exclusively for this layout, and here's a look at some things that I'm going to use to scrapbook these two 3x4 photos of me and my husband. Don't tell anyone, but these pictures were not actually taken on Valentine's Day. We were on vacation, and the one photo that we did manage to take of ourselves on Valentine's Day was at the Air and Space Museum, and I didn't love it, so these two instead are from Washington Square in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania. This is the layout that I'm using as inspiration. It's from Gina Ladero. She completed it for Scrapbook Circle, and I saw it featured on her Instagram account and really liked it, and wanted to challenge myself to use way more embellishments than I'm used to using. I also want to apologize to you guys if there are any for the random audio on this video. I have a coughing fit every 90 seconds while I'm talking, so I'm going to be starting and stopping a lot. So something to note, I am done with 12 by 12 layouts for a while. I decided to go down to 9 by 12. I've been doing that in my heritage albums, and I really like that size, and I want to try and use that for my annual albums, which we call our family yearbook. So our fiscal year in our family begins February 14th. That's our wedding anniversary. And so this is going to be the first page in my album. And typically the Valentine's layout is always the first page in our family's yearbook. So I'm going ahead and using this pattern paper here to cut a bunch of different phrases and shapes. I don't use all of them, but there were certainly some cute motifs that I wanted to get in on this page, and I needed a variety of things to be able to sprinkle around on the page. I went ahead and pulled out some ruler phrase stamps. You can see those off to the left because I figured that I could stamp a few things in between the different embellishments. I'm also using this little journaling block, I'll call it. It's from Dear Lizzie's Fine and Dandy collection. It's from one of her cut apart sheets, and I thought it would be a great spot to use for journaling. I also went ahead and used that shipping tag that says XOXO on the bottom. I cut that from the cut apart sheet as well as that large geometric heart, and I'm going to layer those around the photos. So I pulled a bunch of things from the ephemera pack, and I kept those off to the right of my desk. I don't end up using all of them, but it was good for me to narrow down my selection. I definitely want to use the Aqua 14 since that is our anniversary date, and that's going to go on the bottom of the layout. I wanted to keep a good mix of aqua on the top and bottom. If you've watched my videos before, you know that I'm not a pink and mint type person. I actually very rarely use pink. So I wanted to keep a good balance of aqua on there too, and black and white. Now I'm pulling several of the arrows from these epoxy thicker sheets because I want to point into the photos from a few different directions so that all of the movement has your eye going to the pictures. Next, I'm going to go through the 12 by 12 paper pad, and I'm going to look for a piece of paper to mount the photos on. It's something that I normally do, and I feel weird if I don't mount my photos with pattern paper, and so it's just become a habit. It's certainly not a requirement. I decided to mount them on a brighter piece of paper since the pink is so saturated, so I'm just using this paper with the different color hearts on it, and I'm only going to put it around like 3/4 of the bottom photo because it is going to end up overlapping that shipping tag on the right. And they're messy layers. I have a bunch of stuff out on my desk, and there's no way that I'm going to get my paper trimmer on the desk without disturbing anything, so I just went ahead and cut it by hand because I didn't really care if it was too precise. Once I was pleased with where everything was placed, I lightly adhered things down and committed to sticking these stickers down. But then I realized that I wasn't in love with what was happening on the bottom. It just seemed really random. So then I decided to go back to this epoxy thicker sheet, and I'm going to take the word Valentine and I'm going to use that as a title almost for this page and put it across the bottom. I feel like the weight of the black letters grounded the layout a little better at the bottom. Next, I'm going to go ahead and rearrange some things. Like I'm going to pull that pink banner up at the top that says I love you down to the bottom because it's visually a little heavier than the rest of the embellishments up there. One more thing I'm going to add is this circle that says love. I'm going to put it next to the shipping tag beneath the journaling spot because I wanted to create a little more balance on the bottom. It was starting to look a little too top heavy on that part of the layout. Next, I'm going to go ahead and get out my ruler phrase stamps. I pretty much have all of the ephemera and things like that where I want them. And so I'm going to go ahead and choose my sentiment from the roller stamp and then test stamp them on the steno pad over to the right. I highly recommend this for any new roller stamps that you have so you can see where the ink pools and if the edges of your stamps are inked in addition to the sentiment. Lastly, I'm going to work on my journaling, and it's nothing mushy-gushy. It's actually a very factual account of how our day was spent celebrating our 3rd wedding anniversary. So I'm just using bullet points to document that we went to church in the morning and we had lunch at La Madeleine in someplace outside of DC, and then we went shopping and we went to the Air and Space Museum, we went to Lito's Pizza, and then we took a scenic drive around Rockville, Bethesda, and Georgetown before we got back to the hotel. And that's it. Here's a look at my finished layout along with several close-ups. Thank you guys so much for watching, for putting up with this frog in my throat, and I look forward to seeing you this Saturday for a new Heritage Scrapbook video. See you then!